Hello, Tiffany here from Cars Crafty Creations. So today's video, what I wanted to do was talk about something that I'd like to start up again. Several years ago when I was shooting some videos in October, I was going through and coloring some old vintage comic book covers, and I had them geared more towards the October season. And I colored those out of a coloring book I had purchased from Barnes & Noble. And since then, I have acquired a lot of coloring books because besides paper crafting and stuff, I do like to paint and color. And so I have acquired quite a few coloring books. And so I'd like to do a kind of a color with me couch coloring is what I'm gonna call it, in which at the end of the day, when I want to unwind from my day job or even crafting, I can sit on the couch and do some coloring and watch a movie or listen to music or whatever, because coloring, I'm not much into drawing. I think I might be a little bit too impatient to be an artist that draws, so I mostly do coloring. And so I've acquired quite a collection of coloring books in which I do a lot of different mediums of coloring with those. So I was going to go through my coloring system here. So this is my coloring cabinet. And so, as I said, I do color, have a lot of mediums. I really try just about everything I can. And so there's a bunch of variety here. I just have regular markers for like journaling. Even though I'm not a big journaler, I really don't have a lot to say, so I don't really journal a lot. This is my color pencil. These are ink tints pencils. So they're ink and you use water with them and it blends. And I actually have the color chart here that goes with those. So I have a set of those. Then I have a set of watercolor pencils. So these are Prismacolor and Prima watercolor pencils, and then my water brush pen. So I do watercoloring with those. I also have a watercolor palette. That's in a different box right now. And then I have these other two pouches are Prismacolor pencils. I actually was surprised when I opened this back up and realized I don't really have a very large Prismacolor pencil set, even though I colored with color pencil quite a bit. But that means I made it work with what I had. This is actually, these are pigment powders. I've done some crafty things with these. I haven't so much painted or colored with them, but I do use them for other things. This is a whole set of, these are Spectrum Noir markers. I don't use these that much because they're a chisel and bullet nib, which I don't really use. I use more of a brush nib, but they were like super cheap, so I got them, and I do use them sometimes. This here is my dip pen stuff. So I have a glass dip pen here I just got off of Amazon, and then I actually have ones with different nibs too, the metal nib ones. But what I really like about my dip pen stuff is this set of inks. So I got this off of Amazon too, and it's a set of all your typical colors: purple, blue, green, all primary type colors, brown, black, and they're pearlescent. So what I've done with these before is use my dip pen I'll stamp an image and then I will use the dip pen to color it. So I have done that, and I do have video on that. I've also used white ink in my dip pen. So I've stamped in on a black canvas or a black cardstock, and then I use white to outline it and shade it and so forth. So that is my dip pen and ink there. I also have a full set of Prismacolor markers. So I have a couple things in here. I have Prismacolor alcohol markers. I have some Copics in here, not very many. These are actually Michael's brand alcohol ink. This is just a random alcohol ink marker. But I do have those in here, plus I have a white gel pen, which these are new to me. Papermate's Ink Joy. Now, I was told the Ink Joy pens are like really good, smooth writing, so I did get a set of colored ones, and I do use those. But then I was randomly at Walmart and saw they had white, and I always struggle with the white pen. I have the Jelly Rolls. I've tried other ones, so this is what I'm trying now, and so far it's been pretty promising. But that is my alcohol ink set of markers. Down here is my Zig Clean Color markers. I haven't used these in a while, and I guess I should show you the back of them and not my paper towel, but I do have a set of those. And I think that's about it. I have watercolor palettes, and I have acrylics and stuff like that for when I'm painting on canvas, but this is mostly like my coloring section. These are all coloring books here. I have a variety. I have all kinds. I have anywhere from, I have the Thomas Kinkade coloring book, in which I started one. I think it was Peter Pan. Yeah, I started the Peter Pan one here. I have a lot that I've started. I have watercolor books, so that's when I would use the Zig markers to do the watercolors. I actually have the Prima Princess book, and actually I did a coloring from this and won a contest, and so they sent me some of their supplies, so that was kind of fun. I had no intention of winning anything. I have Marvel, Star Wars. I have an actual color, just a Crayola coloring book, in which I have started coloring in that as well. Those are fairly cheap, and you can get them at the, Target, I think is where I got this one. So, doesn't have to be fancy. Lots of coloring books here. A watercolor flower book, which I haven't used yet, but there's a lot of potential in this book. And this is actually watercolor paper, so you can use that medium on that paper. And then I have just regular watercoloring books. I have some journaling cards that are, it's the Psalms, and you can read your psalm for the day and color the image on it. I have my own mixed media. This is a mixed media album I started. Not so much coloring, but I have colored, used some markers to work in there. Looks like I have a drawing. See, I'm not much of a drawer. This was me experimenting with my dip pen in 2017, so it's been a bit. Yeah, me just playing around with my pen. I have another Words of Jesus for Women's daily devotional book, in which you can color in. Yeah. I also have, these are one of my newest things. It's called Pearl Colors by Coliro, and they're metallic watercolors, and I am absolutely shocked at how bright these things are for them being watercolor. I mean, they were amazing when I was using them. This is a little book I made. I also have art impressions, watercoloring stamps, and so I made this little book and just would do a little watercoloring with stamps, just very quick and simple little things. So that is mostly the cabinet. I was going to show you some of the artwork, other colorings that I've done over the years. So this is actually a Jane Austen coloring book from Target, and it's just kind of like telling part of her, just her characters and different things. And this is just some of the colorings I've done in this book. But this one in particular, this is not watercolor paper. This is literally probably just regular paper. But I did this image with ink and water, and it actually came out pretty good. It's not only a little bit of waviness, but it's not just about coloring and staying in the lines. So I thought that was kind of a fun experiment to see how that would work. I do have DC Comics coloring book, and have colored this image of the comic book cover, #1, first edition of the Justice League. That's one of my colorings. This is from the Guardians of the Galaxy coloring book. This one's not finished, but I have done the white lines. Usually I do that last, but there's none on here, and that's not colored, so that's a work in progress. This is the Harry Potter Magical Creatures book. This is the coloring I did in there, and now that I've brought this back out, I think I'm gonna revisit this with these and put some of the gold on the feathers, or even use some of the metallic colors from this to emphasize some of the colors in this image. So that was kind of a fun one. Another thing that, as I said, I don't really draw much. I mean, I could draw if I allowed myself the time to draw, but I would rather color or create a card or do something else. So it's just not my first thing I want to do. But my husband does draw, and so when he draws, I will usually take his image and color it. And so this is one of his, this is pretty old, from 2011. So this is his drawing book, things he's drawn over the years that I've colored. And this is one of them, and he doesn't tell me what colors to do. He just draws the image, and then I decide what I think it looks like. And so this one was Vincent Price. So he didn't draw it to be Vincent Price, but when I got a hold of it, that's what I saw of it. So I colored it to be a zombie Vincent Price. He did this one. I did the Nosferatu part of it because he just drew it, and then I decided what I thought it was. So there's just things that he's drawn over the years that I've colored in, not all of them, but some of them. And so when he drew this one, I saw it as a zombie old lady. So anyways, that's another thing that I like to do. Another book I really enjoy doing is Alice in Wonderland, and I've colored quite a bit in here. That's not one of them, but this is kind of the one I really like to work in. I have a lot in here that's not actually finished, but there are some that are. And since I'm going to do my room here in Alice in Wonderland, I'll probably take some of these and frame them in my room. And then lastly this is one of my newest books that I got, my newest coloring books. And so I actually did my first couch coloring last night, and so this was the image that I colored from there. and so this came out of this coloring book. And so I'm probably going to cut this out and overlay it on some kind of quirky scrapbook paper or something. And then I have some stuff coming up that I really am looking forward to in the October season. I actually have a Hocus Pocus coloring book that I got randomly for like $1 or something. So I think I'd like to do an image or two from there for the fall season. And then this book I'm really excited about. Sweet and Creepy Coloring. So I'll be doing some in here for the fall season as well. It's just very cute, like whimsical, spooky imagery. So that should be fun. And then my other October book is Zombies, Werewolves, and Monsters. And this one looks like a whole lot of fun to color in. So I'll probably be doing some coloring of this one as well coming up in that season. So anyway, that is my coloring section. That is what I like to do when I'm coloring with all kinds of mediums and all kinds of imagery. I really am not picky about it. It just has to inspire me. And so stay tuned. I think I'm going to have some videos coming up of couch coloring. Me unwinding at the end of a day and just relaxing and enjoying some coloring time. So I hope you stick around and you come back and see what I'm coming up with on my coloring videos. All right, thanks a lot. Bye.